Hi, David Martindale. They call me MacGyver. Today I'm going to do something a little different out of the norm, and I'm going to reveal a secret cinnamon roll recipe that I have never passed on to anybody. So if you would like to see how to make these delicious cinnamon rolls that are sought after, watch this video and I'll reveal not only the recipe but also the process. So you want a pretty large bowl. It doesn't have to be glass, it can be stainless, but what you want to do is you want to warm it up. So you want to get your water as warm as you can get it without it being hot, if that makes sense. What I'm doing now is just warming up my bowl. Let that sit just for a minute or so until the outside of the bowl gets warm. Then we want 6 cups of very, very warm water. So I've got 6 cups of very, very warm water. My bowl is warm. Next thing we want to do is we want 1.5 cups of sugar. I happen to be using organic sugar. That's a cup. And 1/2. You always do the sugar first. You're going to use the same measuring cups for your oil. I've never tried this with olive oil, so I'm going to stick with vegetable oil because I'm bringing this to an event tonight. And that's my cup, my 1/2 cup. Next thing I want is active dry yeast, and I need 6 tablespoons. And if you notice that the package is just a little less than a tablespoon. So there's 1. Two. And that's 3. And that's 4. That's 5. And we got 6. Then we mix this up real good. Make sure your yeast all gets wet. Sometimes it forms little pockets, so you gotta mash Get them into the liquid. Then we're going to let that sit for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll show you what it looks like when it actually works. And then after that, then we'll start adding our flour. So as you can see, my bowl really isn't big enough, but that's the biggest bowl I had, so that's what I'm using. Then we're going to start, actually what we need to do now is add the salt. I always put the salt in after the yeast is risen, because otherwise it can inhibit the rising of the yeast. That's 1½ teaspoons. Get that salt mixed in. And then we start adding the flour. And this will make a mess. If you have any rings on, you should take your rings off. If you look in the video, you'll see that I had rings on. I have taken them off. Get started with that. If you had a bigger bowl, it wouldn't make quite so much a mess, but and I estimate about 22 cups of flour, but I don't know if I mentioned it when I was putting the salt in, but it's actually 1½ tablespoons, and 1½ teaspoons is half of a tablespoon. So you go 1 tablespoon plus the 1½ teaspoons. If you notice, I take it from the outside and punch it to the inside to get it mixed. This is what you call kneading the dough. And we're getting close. Okay, so after you get it all kneaded, you flip it over on top of some flour, and we cover it up just to kind of keep the drafts off of it. It'll expand over that, and we're going to let that rise for about an hour. So while the dough is rising, I'm going to mix up my cinnamon sugar, and I've got a old cinnamon container here that I use for putting the cinnamon sugar in, because it has a sprinkle top. If you layer your sugar and your cinnamon, it mixes a little easier. Yeah, it looks like a good blend there. And then something else I can do while that is rising is we'll take some Crisco. And I've always found putting it on a paper towel works the best. I want to make sure you get it in all the corners. It doesn't need to be thick, you just want to make sure everything's covered. You can get these pans at Dollar Tree. That makes for pretty cheap pans to grease. One more thing you can do while your dough is rising is you can mix up your powdered sugar with a little bit of either milk or water. And I've already put some water in here. Nice thick consistency. That'll be drizzled over the top of the cinnamon rolls when we're done. Okay, so it's been about an hour and our dough has risen nicely. Next thing we're going to do is knock it down again. And I'm going to make a few dinner rolls out of this too, so use the same recipe, we just don't put any cinnamon sugar on it. I put the wood on here, it's just a little easier. That plastic table, it seems to slide pretty much, but you want to kind of make a snake. And then you just tie it, and you tuck the bottom up through like that. That'll be a baby roll. So after you've done this, then we cover these with a towel. And I'm going to set it on top of my stove that's preheated, which is, now's a good time for you to turn on your preheat to 375. And I'll set this over the top of the vent. Okay, now we're going to start rolling. Looks like we'll have enough flour. Okay, if I hadn't made the dinner rolls out of this batch, it would take the whole table, but since I took a dozen dinner rolls out of it, that gives us a little bit more room. Next thing we do is we take soft butter, smear it all over. Two reasons. One is flavor, and number two is so the cinnamon sugar will stick to it. And the next thing we do is we sprinkle our cinnamon sugar on that I pre-made. And we start rolling. Try to get it as tight as you can. You can kind of stretch a little bit as you're rolling too. You want thin layers. And then we'll let these rise for another hour. In the meantime, I get to clean up the mess. Okay, so it's been an hour since I did the rolls, and they have risen. Now we'll put them in the oven. And you want them in there for 15 to 20 minutes, so we'll put them in for 15 minutes and then we'll check them after 15 minutes to see what they look like. Cinnamon rolls I set for a little less time. I'll check them between 12. It'll be between 12 and 17 minutes on those. After we pulled the dinner rolls out, we take some butter with a pastry brush and brush it on top. So it looks like 15 minutes is the golden number on these. We'll drizzle our powdered sugar on there. And then once this is cool, that powdered sugar will just wipe right off the counter. I don't worry about it dripping over. That way it kind of drizzles over the sides of the cinnamon rolls. And that's it. My last batch. I'd like to thank you for watching and hope you'll subscribe to my channel, and we'll do some more things in the future. You have a great day.